locus of control can be internal or external. People who base their success on their own work and believe they control their life have an internal locus of control. In contrast, people who attribute their success or failure to outside influences have an external locus of control. For example, let's say you're a person with an internal locus of control, get a promotion at work, or achieve some other type of success. You will probably attribute that positive end result to the work you put in. In other words, your success will be a direct result of your hard work. If, on the other hand, you have an external locus of control, you might attribute that promotion or success to external or environmental factors, such as luck, fate, timing, other people, or some type of divine intervention. Let's use the same example and say that you were denied a promotion. If your locus of control is internal, you would find a way to blame yourself for the perceived failure. If your locus of control is external, it would be easy, even natural, to blame outside sources beyond your control. Individuals who identify with internal locus of control tend to take more responsibility for their actions, whether those actions toward the end result are good or bad. They do not accept outside influence to the outcomes, no matter what that is. If, for example, this person did not get back to work in time for lunch, they would think they should have eaten in the office or not gone to lunch altogether. The results of the action are theirs, and theirs alone are theirs. On the other hand, the person who identifies with an external locus of control looks at everything around them as part of success or failure. In many ways, they believe in the team aspect more than those that focus on the internal locus of control, as they will always praise those around them for a job well done, even if they had nothing to do with it at all. They are team players. There are drawbacks.
Cool. I'm sorry, I was trying to.
An internally focused person will be hard on themselves, constantly analyzing.
All right, do you guys all get the concept?
That perspective.
So what's really important about the locus of control, and as we see the market shift, and you guys are going to see some numbers where units are pulling back, and they're probably going to pull back even more than we originally anticipated on the year. You can either say that it's okay that your business is shrinking because units are getting pulled back, or you can grab the locus of control and say, no, I'm going to work even harder to grow my business when the market's pulling back. So I think that's just a really good concept and a really good idea to always have in your brain, is to control your life, control your destiny, not let the market and what the market is doing control your destiny, but work the market as best you can. Where are my slides? Here we go. All right, so the first thing Gary did is he talked about the state of the industry, and we spent about 3 hours on this. So I thought it'd be really important to go into this with you guys a bit. Let me get my little notes pulled up here. There was a reason that Gary wanted to talk about the state of the industry for so long, right? Almost half of our time was spent talking about it. And there's a lot of unknowns still, but we can look at a lot of really good data. So one thing is we're going into kind of what's seeming like a recession. I don't know if you guys look at the stock market, but we were down about 3 to 4% across the board yesterday. So we're definitely heading downward. An interesting thing is unemployment has still been dropping. So that is actually really good. But another caveat to that this doesn't track is when during the great, what's it called? The Great Resignation? Yes, Great Resignation. 2 million people just never went back to work. Otherwise, this number would be a lot higher because unemployment only takes people into consideration that are looking for a job. And there's a 3 is considered a virtually zero unemployment because of the amount of people that are looking for new jobs. So if you think about 2 million people divided against 100 most populated cities, that's 20,000 people across the St. Louis area that just never went back to work. That's why you're feeling these effects right now in the restaurant industry, trying to get a cab, trying to get anything, but there's just not those low income people there working, is because we lost 20,000 workers that never went back. Now, what could happen that could spike unemployment is if all those people decide, I need money now, I'm going back to work, we could see unemployment start to sharply rise very quickly. The first indicators of a recession is 2 quarters of a negative GDP growth. So if 2 quarters are pulled back, the government will officially say that we're in a recession. So that's why we're feeling it right now, but you're not hearing them talk about it. Because of the earliest you guys will hear the government say we're in a recession is going to be July, but they're probably going to wait until August or September because they don't want to cause extra fear, because they want to quickly turn it around as fast as they can. So if you look here, the 2009, we had a negative 2.6, 2020, negative 3.4, 91. So what's interesting also is over the last 5 recessions we've had, 3 of them real estate actually appreciated. So this is a really important thing. And I would write that down because when you're talking to your clients who are like, oh my God, we're going into a recession, 3 of the last 5 real estate appreciated. And the one that it didn't, it actually stayed about 0. And the one that it went negative was 2009, which was caused by real estate. So I think that's a really, really important factor, especially you guys working with buyer clients. You have, I'm sure right now, every single one of you has a buyer that's like, I'm afraid to buy because I think real estate values are going to drop. I would, in 2020, I heard that so much. Alicia, all you guys who were in the business then, that's all we heard in 2020 was, well, values are going to drop, values are going to drop. What they do, they jump 25%. Super important to understand that and be able to explain that. Since the 70s, of the 5 major recessions that happened, 3 real estate actually appreciated around 3 or 4%. So GDP quarterly. So we don't have Q2 yet because that won't come out till June. We saw a negative 1.4 Q1. I believe looking from it, Q2 is probably going to be negative 3 or 4. We're in a pretty bad market right now as far as the stock market goes, as you that track that. Everyone that is on that side of the world, we're starting to feel it, but they're really feeling it elsewhere too. What's causing that is all the inflation that's happened. So massive, massive inflation. We're at 7%. A good healthy inflation number is around 3-4%, which is where they want to see. When GDP and inflation run perfect, the world runs great. When inflation gets out of control, what's happening right now happens. It's really interesting to look at here is their best bet, their best case is that we're going to have inflation back to a healthy like 2% by 2024. So we still have 2 years ahead of very high inflationary periods. So what that is going to do is that it's going to keep interest rates high as well. When inflation's high, interest rates go high. So what is that a good talking point with your clients? Well, I'm going to wait to buy next year because rates are going to go down. Are you? Do you think they're going to go down next year? And one thing that Gary said when we were on this point is he said, your clients are saying they're going to wait till a year. I'm telling them they're going to be between 7 and 8%. And he's like, I own like the 20th largest mortgage company in the world. Rates are going to be between 7 and 8% before this all wraps up and said it done. So it's important that we understand this. And if you guys want to take a picture of this, these are good. I can also send an email out to all you guys who would like of all of these slides. We saw 2 more years of high inflationary periods, 2 more years of high interest rates. And the reason that we haven't, oh, it's not next, sorry. We got another one coming up that, so this shows inflation monthly. Right into March, April, we actually got the main CPI up to 8.3%. And it's kind of like when they started to really shoot rates up quick to get this under control. It's still going to stay in the 6s, 7% for a while. But you guys can see here, 1.7, 1.5. We were trending really good. We dropped, this was COVID time, obviously, so inflation went down. And this is right where we started printing just tons and tons of money. And that's what ultimately causes inflation.
Okay, quick question. What's the difference between core PI and CPI?
So it's just the way that it's tracked in 2 different ways. They didn't get too far into that. So that's not something that I know. If I tried to answer that, I'd probably answer it wrong. I don't want to do that. This is an interesting part, and Gary really dove into this right here. So there's always the yield curve where it starts and the yield curve where it ends. So that's when the GDP stops and that's when the GDP goes up. None of us were in real estate in 2008, right? So those of you guys that have talked to people, everyone started feeling it in 2006 in real estate, even though they didn't say until 08 we were in a recession. So that's kind of what we're seeing right now is we're in that beginning phase of we're seeing our buyers pull back. The bottom 20% of buyers, in my opinion, got cut off by the high rates. So we're feeling that now, but nobody's talking about it. And I'm going to get in a little bit later about why that's going to work out for those of you guys now that are preparing before it gets too bad. So what's an interesting part to look at here is the average length of recession in months. And what's really important, actually, I don't know if those of you guys that follow me on Facebook, this was one of my life tips I learned in my 30s, is what goes up must come down. And what goes down, what's that? Yeah, oh, I learned in my 20s. So I posted my birthday was, my 30th was yesterday. I posted yesterday on Facebook, what are the top 5 things I learned in my 20s? And number 4 was like, what goes up must come down, and what goes down must go back up even further. A recession is going to happen. Things are going to pull back. You know what's great about that? It's going to create a lot of opportunity for everything to go back up. A recession doesn't mean the world's ending. In the 80s, right here, there was 2 dips. Rates went up to 15%. You guys know what's crazy? Real estate still bought and sold. They just do it different. In the 90s, there was an 8-month recession. Real estate still sold. People still bought and sold houses. This is why I wanted to play the locus of control, because you guys control your destiny through the recession. If you want to sit back and say, oh, we're in a recession, I'm not working, I'm not lead generating, what do you think is going to happen to your business? It's going to go down. You know, I think you guys should start doing double the amount of lead generation you do. Whatever avenue that is, lead follow-up lead generation needs to double in a shifting market. Absolutely double, because you're going to get more time. You still need to work 8 hours a day, make more contacts, meet more people. And what's going to happen is if we don't go into a recession, your business is going to double. If we do go into a recession, you're able to hold and build a fortress around what market share you have. And Gary talks about this a lot. Some of the really big agents I follow that were here before 2008, they talk about building a fortress around your market share. So everyone right now needs to literally look at whatever market share they have, whatever deals they're doing, they need to make sure they don't drop below that. Because as the market pulls back, whatever market share you have that you hold on to, you're actually gaining ground. You're holding your locus of control. If you start working harder when the market comes up, who's going to win? You're going to win. You're already in the habit of working hard. So if we accept that things are going to get tough and we get lazy, we're going to lose. Off topic. So Monday, I was on a call with Mark King, and he talked a lot about 30% of real estate agents are going to drop in the next 2 years. 30% of the people are going to happen. I'm going to draw some real quick. Terrible handwriting. So what happens with real estate is there's like this equilibrium of the amount of units and transactions. So this is a unit count, right? It came up, and now it's coming down. It's going to find a healthy medium. So what happens when you become unit count and dollars in this business go up? Agents come into business, but they come in late. And agents leave business late too. At least I'm sure they're talking about later stuff. We're probably somewhere in this period, right? There's still 1 million people out like it's called across the country, right? There's only 1.6 million real estate agents in the country. So we're still going to have this number going up as unit count stuff goes down. What we know is really great is when this number comes back up. And it takes so long for all those people to get back to the business. The people who have their businesses established, whoever can survive, terrible handwriting, I'm so sorry. The people who can survive this period where it's going to get really tough are going to have such an unfair advantage on the way up. And that's why the people who survived 2008 who we're at today, the biggest agents in a lot of St. Louis, not so much Edwardsville, the biggest top agents were all here when it happened in 08. And they rode that wave up, and they never let that market share go. That's my total diagram. But while we're talking about recession, we're talking about this. What measures are you guys taking right now to survive? So we cut our expenses by 20% over the last week. We went line by line on our P&L, and we cut as much. Even in our business is growing, we cut 20% of our expenses. Big company. So we're growing this year. My question to you guys is, what fat can you cut? What can you pull out of your expenses? Go line by line on your P&Ls. What can you cut so you can survive 9 months? Do you have 9 months of expenses saved in the bank? Because there's going to be a tough period right here. And we're not there yet. Nobody's even feeling it. But when we hit the bottom, when we find the bottom, it's too late to be ready, right? When the market's on its way down, you got money saved, you're going to get put out. We got to double our lead gen and cut our expenses by 20%. The people who do it, you might get laughed at. You might have some people telling you you're crazy, you're wrong. You know, it's really sweet if we don't go into a recession. You doubled your lead generation, you cut your expenses by 20%. Cool. If we go into a recession and you survive to be right here, you know, it's really sweet. You get to ride this way up. Every time I've heard Gary talk over the last quarter in any type of thing, he said cut your expenses by 20%, a minimum. And you might be like, man, I can't do it. I'm telling you, we ran really lean, and we went and looked through. We're like, don't need that program, don't need that program, don't need that program. We cut our CRM, went back to command. We were using Brivity, cut that. We want to cut every expense we can. The other thing is, so some of you guys are probably spending a lot of money in a lot of different ways on lead generation. Gary talks a lot about, and he's said this for years, I've always heard this, but he really hit on this hard. You need to figure out what your top 3 to 4 lead sources are, where you're getting the most amount of money. The other 8 things you're spending money on, get rid of them. And if you can, put that money to the top 4. Because what's going to happen is leads. The next thing that gets cut back are leads. And the new battlegrounds conversion. So the last 2-3 years, it's been about how much money can I spend to buy the most amount of leads? How can I buy the most? But those leads are slowly shrinking. We're seeing it on our end, especially someone who's a big lead generation team. Leads are coming down. The new battlegrounds conversion. Who can convert the highest percentage of leads is who's going to win and come out on top. Yeah, if it does not directly lead to a sale, cut it out.
So we did our guerrilla warfare in the closest 8 counties. In 2021, which is what it's always based on, this is what our guerrilla warfare is. That is a report that we as team leaders look at to see who our biggest competitors are out there. In 2021, there were only 564 units that were producing per immigrants. So multiply that as a third, and that's how many people will send that.
Yep. So the important thing is that everybody's in this room that's getting prepared is not in that third. And that's why I wanted to talk about this so much, David. I think that's the greatest opportunity to grab wealth is coming that we've seen in my lifetime. I mean, it's because 2008 was my lifetime, but I wasn't a working person, right? The largest redistribution of wealth since 2008 is going to happen over the next 2 years. However hard you work and however much you go after it is how much of an unfair advantage, unfair share you're going to get. I'm sure you guys have heard that, right? The other thing that Gary talked about is I always thought of shifts as being like when in a recession or something, but this was really like opened a light bulb for me. He's like, most of you guys, you think of the last shift of being 2008. That's what we think. That was the biggest shift in the market. He's like, there was a shift in 2012, there's a shift in 2014, there was one in 18, and there was one in 2020. I was like, holy cow. Every year, a couple of years, the market goes through these shifts. It's not just because the market pulls back, but the way real estate is bought and sold changes. In the early 2010s, Zillow came in, they disrupted a lot of the space. In the 2020s, you started to get the iBuyers that came in that disrupted a lot of the space. That shifts the real estate market. We just have to be able to adapt with that. Here in a second, I think. Okay, so now I've talked a lot of doom and gloom, the sky's falling. How many people were in the business in 2020? You guys make a lot of money in 2020? I made a lot of money in 2020. So in 2020, there were 5.6 million annual home sales. We made a lot of money. They're saying in 2022, we're gonna have 5.6 million annual home sales. We're still gonna make a lot of money this year, right? This is not doom and gloom. We're gonna see another 10%-ish fall off probably next year. Was Gary's and Jay Papazan talked on this part a lot. But still, even if we do 5.6 million, it's the 5th best year ever in sales. I mean, so from where we're at last year, there's less, but it's still the 5th best year ever. So I don't say this to scare you, the earlier stuff. I just want you to be ready, because let's say it goes down to 4.6 million next year. If you're ready, you're going to survive, because it's not so much the amount of sales that happen, it's the amount of sales per agent is a really big number. And I think somewhere here there's an agent count. And what happened in this area right here is 30-ish, 20% of agents left the business. Home sales stay the same. But right here, people start making a whole lot of money. Marianne, you were in the business here, right? Everyone started feeling like they were rich in 2012, 2014, even though it wasn't the best real estate market ever. We had a better market in 05 and 06 for agents. But agents in this, if you talk to those people, they made a whole lot more money in 13 and 14. I know my agent back then, who I was using, he was killing it. He bought a Range Rover in 2013. And he was hot shit. And he had just gotten into the business. And I was like, dang, I need to be a realtor. But what happened through this whole period, you see, we didn't have much change in home sales. But if you look at total agent count, sure, Alicia, you know this number, agent count blew through the roof. This is an important thing to think about. Agent count compared to total deals happening is this big equilibrium that's going to fall off. somewhere in 2024 to 2025. So it's important that you're able to survive through that and be those people that are there in the business. So home sales seasonally adjusted. 2020, I don't love this slide that much because 2020 is kind of weird with what happened in COVID, things like that. But you can see back 2020 before January, February, March, before COVID happened, we're still kind of trending right there above where we were in 2020. So we're having a 2-year growth where 2021 was just a huge fluke year. Correct, national. So I have local numbers I'm going to go into right after this. Home sales monthly seasonally adjusted. This is interest rate. So you kind of see where the as rates started to go up, you see the total deals pulling back. Well, to me, the bottom 20% fell off, which is why we're going to see that those of you guys that are listing agents, you quit getting 20 offers, now you get 3. 3 offers, still nice, right, Alicia? That's not because when I started in 2019, I think most of you guys, you 3 are over here in the Sunset, right? In 2019, you had a buyer though. Let's go look at 15 houses, and they picked their best one, and it was on the market for 80 days. It was like, yeah, we're gonna offer 20K under. People, yeah. Last year was tough to get a deal. This year is going to get really tough to find a deal. So that's just something that else is interesting. Here's probably the greatest slide, in my opinion, for talking to buyers in this entire presentation. So this is the long-term average 4% growth since 1940 of real estate. What you notice is that stayed right on par through the entire 90s and early 2000s. I want you guys to count how many years we went above the 4% long-term average growth before it pulled back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many years we've been above that? 1, 2. You guys think we're gonna fall below that anytime soon? If we sustained it for 7 years here, do you think we got 2 more years left? So you people say real estate value is gonna drop. What do you say back? Not what data shows. Home prices monthly. This is just kind of showing with the interest rate, prices going up, prices have shot up. Everyone feels that. That's where you're seeing buyer expectations through the roof. That's going to continue. Buyers are just going to get pickier now because rates are higher.
So this is where Keller says that this is where it's really important if you're newer to be attentive to those inspection responses. You know whether it be a protected client or attend several inspections so you understand. Just because the shingles falling off or it doesn't do that room with that, right? Helping educate buyers.
I would say my single, and this might sound cocky, I don't mean for it. So those of you that know me, I spent 7-8 years in the construction industry before real estate. One of my single greatest unfair advantages that I have for value out of my clients is I can tell them exactly what stuff costs on an inspection report, exactly what needs fixed, sometimes in more detail than an inspector can. And it's like, we'll all have massive inspection reports come back. I'm like, no, we'll just calm down. Here's what this, and this is going to fix. Here's my guy that take care of that. This guy to take care of that. And I'm able to calm those people. The biggest thing in a shifting market is you have to be able to bulletproof your transactions. I'm sure a lot of you guys felt that fallout rate over the last 6 months. How many deals fell through? Marianne, I'm sure you know. You've seen it. I mean, it jumped from 20 to 25% up to 30, 40% of deals have been falling through. That is going to continue. So bulletproofing your transactions is going to get really, really valuable. How do you get really solid? How do you get every contract solid, make sure it don't fall through? Because we have to get those deals closed. The last thing we want is that 40% of our deals fall through because we're working a whole lot to make a lot less. Pendings are way up this year compared to deals closed. That's one of the quickest things that happens in a shift is transactions falling through, and inspections are one of the shift tactics of bulletproofing. So if you guys haven't read the book Shift, read it, because 90% of that book is still accurate today. And Gary talked about that a lot. He's like, look, the only thing I misread is how the internet was going to affect real estate. And the next big takeaway that while we're on the topic of internet and real estate, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are worried about like Zillow and stuff, right? Quit worrying about it. They are going to cut commissions back. They're doing it through the arbitrage, through HomeLight, Zillow, OpCity. They're taking their referral fees. They're not going to get us out of the business. They can't. They need us. Zillow tried it. I would, and I'll bet this is recorded. You guys can go back to this, my birthday next year. Either Open Door or OfferPad will be bankrupt within the next 12 months. One of those two companies. I promise you, their exit strategies are not good. Their exit strategies are not healthy. So right now, is it Open Door, Anita? So Open Door is in our area. They just came over to Illinois. Has anybody lost a deal to them yet? Be careful. And so this is our personal experience. We had a flip that was struggling to sell. Well, not struggle. We went under contract. We lost 2 deals because of interest rates rising. So through February and March, both we had 2 deals. We went under contract. They got the rate locked. It was 1% higher than they thought it was going to be. They could no longer afford the home. We're like, well, let's just see what Open Doors can offer us. And they come in. They offer us like $270,000. I'm like, cool. No commissions. Sweet. I love to pay a buyer's agent. And then 25 days later, Open Door came back. It was $35,000 price drop. Yeah. Yeah, it's like it was 25 or 30 grand. If your client wants, they can call me and I'll tell them about it. Yeah, about 10% price drop. Yeah. So the same time period, we had 2 other people in Missouri on our 3 Doors team because they were writing these crazy high offers. We're like, we can get more than on the open market, sell them. Heck yeah, we'll sell them. And the house is, we went through 2 inspections and we fixed everything on the report because we were trying to save those deals. Because the last thing an investor wants is a deal to fall through, bulletproof your transactions. We had 2 other right around the same time period, and Open Door used the same exact script on all 3 of us. I'm so sorry. We really don't like to do this, but we have to do a market adjustment. And we just need to adjust the price down to this amount. I'm going to go ahead and send you the amendment. I'm like, whoa. And I said, no, we're done. We're walking. I know I can walk through this deal. She sends me the amendment to drop the price. I email her back 3 times to get the termination before they finally sent it to me. They sent me the amendment to adjust the price when I told them on the phone to terminate it. Educate your clients, because you're going to lose listings soon. You're going to have clients like, well, Open Door and OfferPad will be here soon. They're coming to St. Louis or Illinois soon. They're in St. Louis now. Are they? So, okay. One of them wasn't here, but was coming. So.
That's what they were doing. And they took 10% market share, which then allowed them to overtake their portion of the cost of Texas fall.
Yep.
So now they've spread to other different policies. So when you hear the creed of, that they mean everybody, but when I say get out there, just get in your neighborhood and do the not fun things of knocking on the doors.
Absolutely.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So, and their business strategy is buying a house and reselling it 6 months later because of appreciation. And that's why I'm so confident one of them will fail. They have billions of dollars behind them, but it happened to Zillow. And so we're a Zillow Flex team. So we have a high rep at Zillow. He's like, knows everything. So we found out about the month before that they were stopping that program. And I asked him like, why? He's like, well, what we realized is you need $40 billion to run this strategy. And Zillow decided that we only have about 10 billion to invest, so we're going to go ahead and get out. Open Door and OfferPad are both in that $10 billion range of assets available. Once prices quit going through the roof, they're going to quit making money. You'll see one fail and one pull back, I think. The companies that are going to be disruptive going future, people that are holding for unique rental exit strategies. So BlackRock is going to stay big in our space, but they're buying under different entity names. So you'll hear them under like turnkey, like stuff like that. They use these little, like they're out of like Philadelphia and Virginia if you look up the entities, but that's BlackRock buying houses. So that's probably going to be the next big disruptor, but they're buying off the MLS with cash. So they're not so much going direct to seller. So it's going to hurt the buyer's agents, whereas like Open Door and OfferPad are hurting the listing agents. So just something to think about, like what we're seeing and what other markets are seeing. I could be wrong. It's all speculation. So inventory, obviously, like we've seen it go up. It's coming up now a little bit, but it's still incredibly low. So that's why I said earlier, last year was just tough to get a deal done. Now it's just going to be tough to get a deal, to find a deal. There's not houses available. And the reason for that, sorry, let me go. So this is single family home starts. at the beginning of this year, so this one doesn't directly show this. This is just how many homes got started. At the beginning of this year, they thought we'd finish somewhere around 1 million homes to build this year. In February at Family Reunion, those of you guys that listen, they said it was around like 750,000. Gary just said in May, they think they're only going to build 550,000 homes this year in the United States. Half of what they initially anticipated at the beginning of the year. It's going to get tough to get deals. This is where deals come from. The other big indicators to talk to your clients about why home values are going to continually go up or stay strong and can hold is the two largest populations are the millennials and the baby boomers. The baby boomers are staying in their homes and not going to nursing homes or assisted living about 15 years later than the generation before them. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have family members in their 60s and 70s that they live at home alone still. They're still in that house. The other generation is the millennials. The 25 to 35-year-old, what are they doing right now? They're buying houses and have babies, right? So we had all the millennials moved out. We felt this later than we should have because millennials stayed at home longer because they wanted to travel. We were the transients, right? Alicia is right there with me. She knows a lot of our friends, they lived at home until they were 25, 26, 27. Now all those people are buying houses and they're all having kids. And they need bigger houses. So they're in the buyer's market. The baby boomers are staying longer. What can we do knowing this knowledge to benefit on what's going to be another market in the future? Who's going to need to sell their house in 5, 10 years? The baby boomers, right? There's going to be a huge shift in 5 years, 10 years-ish, depending on when that is, of baby boomers needing to sell their homes. So that could be a market that you could start to get into, get yourself cemented in. I'm never going to win in that market. I don't connect with that age group, but if you're able to connect with that age group, I would start doing some marketing to them pretty quickly. Because getting in front and getting in those circles is going to be important. Probates are going to be really big too, come 10 years. Those of you guys that have worked with probate attorneys. All right, that is my slides from Gary's numbers. Let me pull, Cody should have sent me an email. Here we go. So this is just some market stuff of what we have going on. Oh, shoot, that's not the one. Where's that? So this is showings to pending, and I need to be able to move this thing on the bottom. Sweet. Okay, I guess they're up here. So these are the 3 different associations in St. Louis: St. Charles, SLAR, and Greater Gateway. So Greater Gateway is down here. Showings are falling off very quickly to the amount of pending deals. That's always a big indicator of a shift. If this continually falls down even further, this is going to be the leading indicator of how bad the market's going to get. And this is a really good slide for when you're talking to your clients and they're saying like, well, I'm only getting 5 showings. I'm only getting 10 showings. Oh no, I clicked out the whole thing. Sorry. Here we go. So new listings. So if we look from last year, so the important thing is to kind of track last year and the year before of where we're at now. Greater Gateway is this little blue one. It's really interesting how we're so similar to St. Charles in almost every, like a lot of these slides besides like average price is pretty scary. But if we look, our new listings are down a lot from where they're at last year at this time. In 2020, yeah, it fell, but that's because of COVID. But if you see, we were floating around that 700-ish range. We're probably around 600. That's total listings hitting the market. 100 less listings from 700. That's a big percentage to lose. That's why we're still seeing prices go up, because there's so few houses available. Usually I have these in like a really nice order. Cody did not do that for me for some reason. Shows per listing. So this one, it got really high. We actually had a ton of showings at the beginning of this year. And then right when rates fell off, oh, I'm on the wrong association there, sorry. Right when, so we were at a big high to showings, and then now it's falling very, very quickly. Another slide that we're watching every single month as new data comes out is how many showings are happening per listing. I would highly suggest if you guys can pull this stuff on the first, I know you guys go over it in the team meeting, right? But always stay in front of knowing these numbers. That's why it's so important to know this stuff, is because right here when this started to happen in March, it was like, holy crap, market's pulling back. We were able to start telling our clients about it before it happened. And if we see that kind of fall below this trend, we could see a balancing out of prices, not seeing the bid wars. It's going to be good to be educated on when that's going to flatten out, so that way you can educate your clients. The most important thing in a shifting market is being able to give your clients the most amount of value. Keep in front of them, know the numbers, be educated, so you can always educate them on the best offer. Let's go to median sale price. This is the last one I'm going to pull out of these. So this is the sales price of deals that closed. I'm 99% sure. Right around, what was this? Probably June, July, August. We went above 150 as an average. We fell below this winter. We're coming back up. So this is good. We're still seeing good growth. We're still seeing prices kind of go back up. That is going to be a lagging indicator though, because this is closed deals compared to like the showings. Just knowing like where those are and how the market's moving, it all just kind of compiles together. I'm a nerd when it comes to this stuff. But you can see that our average sale price back in 2019, 2020, like 120K. Now it's at 140. Everybody's making a whole lot more money per deal. An interesting one that we've been watching on this is St. Charles Association. I don't know if any of you guys are Missouri related, but they're massively building a ton of houses out there right now. One thing that we're educating all of our people who are in St. Charles about is there are certain pockets that are going to get overbuilt. You are going to see in the next couple of years, and there could be pockets in like O'Fallon where they're just strip building houses and there's nothing around there. That's the one area I'd watch when it comes to, if you're looking at investing or looking at buying a house, is if there's nothing around those houses and they're building entire subdivisions with hundreds and hundreds of homes and no restaurants. You might have people when it shifts a little bit not want to buy there, and you might not be able to sell those houses for what you paid for them. You can't, just for what education you can use to advise your clients on, hey, maybe they're getting overbuilt here. I would look into the numbers yourself. That's our anticipation for that. I'm going to go into just some nuggets I got. So Gary he's like got a lot of these one-liners. I don't know if you guys are listening to me. He's always, and I'm a big like one-liner quote. So my desk has quotes written on sticky notes all over it, because anytime I hear good quotes, I always love to write them down. This has been stuck in my head. I've thought about this every day. Don't be afraid of a recession. Be afraid of your ability to adapt enough. People still buy and sell houses. They just buy and sell differently. Don't be afraid of recession. Be afraid of your ability to adapt enough. Can you adapt your business to the next market? Can you get ahead of everyone else? Best way to do that is showing up as much as possible, lead journeying as much as possible, educating yourself. Read the shift book. Read the shift book. Go to that class. Like I said earlier, still 90% accurate. I think it was written like 10, 12 years ago. Gary was so foreseeing about what to do in a shift and so smart. Tough times don't last, tough people do. So he went into a lot about this, and we're kind of around, this was actually came from a different thing than Gary's, but are you going to be tough enough to last? Are you going to be tough enough to grab your unfair market share when the market starts to come out? I don't know where this slide was. I thought it was in here, but we felt like, and I thought this too, back in January, when we were talking about rates going up, I thought this was going to tank the market very quickly, and I was wrong. And Gary pointed this out before, until 2008, rates weren't below 6%. And the historical average from 1990 to 2020 was 6%. People still bought and sold houses at 6% for 30 years. Exactly. Yep. So everyone, you lose those people that don't, that were just looky-loos. I kind of like when they get out of the market, because when the looky-loos leave, we quit getting as many showings. Our sellers aren't like, oh, why do these people just come and sit here for 45 minutes? You guys quit showing everybody houses, which kind of is good, because now you can lead generate for people that really want to buy and sell. So I like that a lot. Like, as I thought about that, I use that to train my locus of control, that no, I need to still generate more as I have more time. I'm not showing as many houses. Is it a good time to buy? Who's heard this in the last week? Anybody heard that from a buyer? If your holding horizon is 10 years, it's always a good time to buy. How many people, their clients say, this is my forever dream home, but they worry about what they're paying for it? If this is your dream home, why does it matter? Can you afford it? Yes, good. If you're holding horizon is 10 years, it's always a good time to buy real estate. In any 9-year time period ever, real estate has appreciated, no matter where you bought and sold in any 9-year period. If you bought in 06 and then sold in 15, you still were net positive in 95% of markets. Some markets did get hit a lot harder in 08. Like Granite City was one, for instance. Granite City got really, really crushed price-wise. They just, I think it was in 2019, really got back to the prices they had in 08. But most markets in a 9-year time period. I would write that down if you didn't write it down. If you're holding horizon is 10 years, it's always a good time to buy. Another thing that's going to be really, for me, so I move all the time, like every 2 years. If you are not working with an adjustable rate mortgage broker or someone who does balloon mortgages, you're not servicing your clients the best way. I just got a 3.6% 6-year balloon from FCB with 10% down a month ago on my personal home. I refinanced it 3.6% in 6 years because I know for a fact, and I'll say this because Nita left, within 5 years, we're going to sell. As beautiful as that house is, we're going to sell it. I know it. I know me. So why? The other thing is points. Right now, the big thing is people want to buy points. If rates are going to drop in 2 years, why are you buying points? It's not smart. This is where we can advise our clients, where we show more value. And Marianne, can we advise our clients that points aren't a good idea to buy, or am I wrong saying that? All right. I just want to make sure I'm not. Yeah. Correct. So yeah, and ask the loan officer, but I don't trust all loan officers. Make sure you're working with a good one. That's a conversation for another day. So I would definitely start talking to people that have adjustable rate, or not adjustable, balloon rates, right? So at the end of that 6 years, they'll refinance it. Because if you can get your people in at 3.6%, they're going to tell all their friends and family about you. You're gonna build a raving fan when some other mortgage broker told them 6%. FCB, you got 10% down there, 3.6. Script. So I talked about this a little earlier, and I want to hit it again because it's all about the basics. Script practice and conversion rates have to go up in a shift. We've started requiring a mandatory 25 minutes daily of script practice. Conversion rates and script practice are the new battleground. I heard a story, and my business partner Ryan loves to tell this story. There was a guy that went to interview Kobe back in Kobe's heyday, and he's like, Kobe, I really, really just want to like watch you play basketball. I want to watch you practice. I've heard that you're one of the greatest of getting to the basics. And Kobe said, okay, great. I'll be here at 4 a.m. or I'll be here at 4 tomorrow. And he's like, what do you mean you're gonna be here at 4 tomorrow? You got a game tomorrow. You can't be here. He goes, no, 4 a.m. I'll be here at 4 a.m. practicing. And he's like, oh, wow. So this reporter thought, I'm going to be really, really smart. I'm going to get there at 3:30. I'm going to be Kobe to practice. As he pulls up to the gym, it's 3:30 a.m. Lights are on, and there's a ball bouncing. And he's like, holy cow, who's in there? Like, who beat Kobe to the gym? He gets in there. Kobe already has a sweat going, and he's sitting there shooting 3-pointers at 3:30 a.m. in the morning. And he sat down and he did the interview with Kobe. He goes, you told me practice at 4. He goes, yeah, practice at 4. But I do all my basics. I get down to the basics and I perfect every little thing before I even start practice. You want to be like Kobe Bryant? You want to be the greatest? You want to be the GOAT? I do. So what do we got to do? We got script practice. One other thing I really, really liked is, so there was this British rowing team. So Gary told this story. I love stories. There was a British rowing team that took last place in the Olympics. And they all looked at each other and like, what do we want to do? We want to take first place. Going from last to first place is a really big deal in the Olympics in a matter of 4 years. And all they did was make one change in their business, or in their team. They didn't change their coach. They didn't change a single rower. They started asking themselves one question: will this make the boat row faster? If somebody wanted to go out for drinks, they looked at each other. Will us going out for drinks make the boat row faster? No, they didn't do it. They only did what was going to make the boat row faster. For me, I'm not saying what's going to make you sell more houses. I'm a big person about happiness. So as the market shifts, happiness is going to be a very big thing to keep high, because the happier you are, the more motivated you're going to be. It's going to be a huge factor of who's able to keep themselves mentally, because it's going to get tough. They're going to be tough on all our mental states. We're going to have tough days. Myself, what I'm asking myself every day when I wake up, every decision I make, is this going to make me happier? Is going out to the bar tonight going to make me happier tomorrow? Or is it going to make it harder to get up and lead generate? Is going to the gym every day after work, is that going to make me happier? Yeah, it's going to make me more confident. All right, I'm going to do it. So if I could give you guys one piece of advice as we go into this shifting market, everything you do, ask yourself, will this make me happier, or will this make me sadder? Is this going to make me get one step closer to my goal? Off topic, this isn't, so we talk about vision a lot at Three Doors. It's a big thing that we talk to everyone. We do vision meetings. If you guys aren't crystal clear on what your vision for your life is, right now is the time to get it. Because when you get crystal clear on where you want to be in your life, where you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, every decision after that becomes so much easier about what you do in your life. For me, I know within 5 years, I want to be able to live part-time in Florida. I want a home in Florida. I want to be there. I know that every decision I make in business has to lead to that. I know I want kids. Every decision and how I shape my business has to be to, am I going to be able to, and with that, I talk about this a lot. My dad wasn't at every baseball game. So a big part of my vision is I want to be at every baseball game. So I'm shaping my business to be built around how can I be at every baseball game? So get clear on your vision. I would suggest all of you guys sit down for an hour and a half and just write out everything you want in life. Have you guys heard the Disney Imagineering Engineering implementation? Anybody? So I'm going to go into it. So Disney, the way that they build their parks is Disney has it, and if I mess this up a little bit, I'm sorry. Disney has an Imagineering department, and they are told to dream about the craziest stuff. And the Imagineers said, we want to make a roller coaster fly. And the Imagineers have zero contact with the engineers. So then it's sent to the engineers, and they're told, you need to figure out how to make a roller coaster fly. We can't make a roller coaster fly, but we can build a building around it, and we can make it dark and make it feel like a fly, so you can't see it. And then there's another department after the engineers, and they don't get to talk to the engineers. They just gotta do what the engineers say. Because what would happen if the engineers could talk to the engineers? They're gonna tell them it can't be done. They'll find a way. So the reason this is important is when you guys go into a vision aspect of your life, I want you guys to sit down for an hour, and I don't want you to think about money. I don't want you to think about dollar signs. I want you to think about everything you want to do in your life, everything you want to accomplish. Don't say I need to make 250K, because that's silly. I want to be able to travel 3 weeks a year, or I will. Don't talk and I want. I will have a second home. I will read my kids a bedtime story every night before dinner. And write that out in every aspect. The 7 circles of your life. If you guys don't know 7 circles, look those up. Spend an hour and a half on that vision minimum with 0 distractions. And don't once try and say how you're going to do something. If you say that you're engineering, you get that part of your brain for that hour and a half. Write down how you're going to make a roller, or that you want to make a roller coaster fly. For an hour and a half, get really deep on your travel, on your family, on your relationships. And then when you build your personal vision out, it's really easy and clear to know where you want your business to go. Because when your personal life, that's the most important thing. The most important thing is your personal vision. Get that crystal clear, and then build a business vision around that to make sure your business matches what you want to do personally. And when you do that, there's nothing that you can't do. So I would suggest, that's my biggest thing. Everybody spend an hour and a half, no phone, no TV. What is everything I want to do? Dream as big as you've ever dreamed. Make sure you write it down, because if you don't write it down, it's just fluff. And write it out. It can be 3 pages long. What do you want to be? If I asked you guys to go drive somewhere, and you were driving with down an unpaved road without GPS, how fast could you go? Pretty slow. If I give you GPS and a highway, you can get there pretty quick. Having your vision mapped out is like driving on a highway with GPS. Any of you guys have a 5-year vision done right now? So buy it. I know you do. By the next time I see you guys, I would love to just tell me about it. Tell me about your vision. I'll bounce ideas off me. Let's get crazy and dream big. I think that's one of the most important aspects of life that can make you very happy, because personal is the most important thing. That's all I got for you guys today. If you got questions, feel free to ask away. Nothing?
Are you gonna email all those?
Yeah, so Alicia, can you send me the emails of everybody here? Can we do that? And then I can send out these slides really easily. You're welcome. Hopefully I didn't get too deep on you guys, but that's me.